Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. Today, I thought we would do something kind of fun and a little different for Super Fun Sunday, and that is we are going to look at Adam Hughes' sketchbook pieces. Adam is one of the best comic book artists, illustrators, I think, in the business. He draws so well. He's very methodical. He doesn't do a ton of interior sequential comic book things, but he does have a passion for it, and when he does it, they're generally quite excellent. I know Adam a little bit, so I can share some fun stories along the way. And quick housekeeping, as we always say, by be sure to check out my Patreon. This is the last month that it's going to be $1 for full access. There's over 600 videos there, close to 800 posts. It's well worth the money. There's all kinds of educational content, which is generally what I sort of focus in on there. But I do a lot of entertaining videos. I would say that the time range is anywhere from 30 minutes to about an hour long videos. There's some that are shorter, but they generally tend to go for a while, so there's a lot you can get out of it, and people seem to really enjoy it, and I get lots of compliments on inspiring people to draw, which is great. And then also check out the early sign up for Blaster Kid. In January, we're going to be launching that book, and things are going to start to build here over the next month, so it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, anyway, but all right, so let's get to Adam Hughes. I will have links to Adam also online. Adam Hughes is a comic book artist. I'm going to go just into full screen mode. I first became aware of Adam's work probably in around 1995 or 1996. I had seen a little bit of his stuff on the shelves, but I didn't know it very well. But about a year, it was about a year, maybe 16 months after I had been at Wildstorm, I started sharing an office with J. Scott Campbell and Alex Garner, and Adam Hughes was going to come into town to live for a year. And so at that point, I shared an office with J. Scott Campbell and Adam Hughes, and also Tom Ranney. And Garner didn't come in very often, but he had a desk in the room. So it was four artists that shared an office space. But generally speaking, honestly, it was Adam and I there alone together. J. Scott tended to work at home more. So I spent a lot of time with Adam over that year. And I loved it. He's a very, very smart guy. He's an incredible artist. He's very, very funny too. So, it's like he's very thoughtful. The stuff isn't an accident that he draws so well. He's very methodical. He has a very deep mind. So, all right, let's get to the fun and look at this art. So this is not uncommon. Adam keeps Strathmore Bristol sketchbook pads. They're approximately 11 by 14, if I was going to guess. You'll see them in two colors generally if you go to any sort of generic art store or hobby shop, which is there's green cover ones and brown. I never really saw any kind of preference with Adam. I think that he had probably both. I could be wrong on that. I remember them as being the brown cover ones, but some could have been green. He brought about 5 of these to Wildstorm, and they were incredible. He really keeps methodical sketch notes, so this is not uncommon to not only see these beautiful studies of poses and different positions as he works out ideas, but you will find a lot of stuff that looks just like this in the sketchbook. Very, very refined. I mean, it's about as nice as pencils could look. And what he'll do is he will transfer these to his big board and then pencil and ink it there. So, all right, what's this going to be? It's going to be super fun. All right. A lot of these scans you'll see at the bottom. This is Heritage Auctions, so you can go there and find more. I what's funny is I put this folder together for myself, so it wasn't actually initially intended for a Super Fun Sunday, but I wanted to do something different for Super Fun Sunday, and I thought that this would be fun because it's focused on an artist, and yet we're looking at kind of the thought process more than the finished results. There's a few finished pieces. That was my point of bringing it up, but these are nice. This is not exactly like if I saw this right here, I might not know it's Adam. that's not the point of these. The point of these is to just get ideas down. It's funny because I've been posting some sketches online, and really what I'm showing is things that at about this level of finish. I draw very, very fast, and so I can knock out things pretty quick, and have them look somewhat like you might have spent some time on it. But I've been doing them for a friend of mine that I grew up with. We chit chat about music all the time, and so I've been sending him Buckethead inspired sketches. So it's a lot of Disney and kind of Buckethead things. So this was interesting. I literally just did a Patreon video, and we've been going through the Wizard Basic training, and this piece almost identical was in that book. And it was weird, is this was credited on Heritage as Adam Hughes, but in the Wizard Basic training it was actually done by Kevin McGuire. So I didn't go back and compare the pieces, but this very well could be Kevin McGuire, and it was sold as an Adam Hughes piece. So I'm not gonna commit to either. This doesn't really look like Adam to me, but it also doesn't really I don't know Kevin McGuire's stuff that well to be definitive on this, but it was a weird coincidence because we literally just looked at this a few days ago on Patreon. It was a series of pieces, but it was facial expressions and body language was what we were looking at. And I love cartooning. I mean, that's the thing is people know my work from much more detailed stuff, but I love doing stuff like this with weird shapes and kind of goofy, more whimsical. I don't know, whimsical would be the right word, but yeah, I mean, I think a real good artist that can do stuff that's realistic like this, it will never ever hurt you to be able to cartoon well. So they're muscles that I like to flex. It will be a little confusing for people, I think, initially, who are trying to find a footing with my own work. But don't worry, Blaster Kid will not be super cartoony or whimsical. Part of it too was doing the heavy metal job. I had to come up with a style for that book that would be fitting for it. So it's almost like an actor being in a role. You know, it's like you're going to cut your hair and slim down or bulk up. And I look at comic book storytelling that way, especially if you're collaborating. This is really nice, man. I don't know if anyone does Jor-El better than Adam. His Jor-El looks legit. His Superman can be very, very cool too. Adam is a big Kevin McGuire fan. He's a big Mignola fan. He's also a big Kevin Nolan fan, and Struzan, and many, many other artists. I would never want to try to pigeonhole Adam's influences because I'm sure that they are far-reaching. I know he's a big Travis fan too. We always love to give Travis some props in our videos, and I know Adam really was impressed by Travis's work, which is always cool. This is nice. You know, Adam really was the Copic marker guy. I credit Adam as getting this rolling and really making it popular. And then I think Chris Stevens kind of took the mantle as the Copic marker guy, because he does very, very finessey things with Copics. But Adam really was the first person that I saw very consistently using Copic markers, getting a very high level of quality from them, and an aesthetic that was quite beautiful to look at. So Adam is the man. I love his stuff. This is such a selfish video, me doing this. It's like, I want to study Adam Hughes, but I need an excuse. All right, Super Fun Sunday will be Adam Hughes. These were the finished pieces. I just thought that they were nice, so I saved these when I was looking at this stuff. But I love the economy of line that Adam uses. I mean, this is obviously with the Copics. It's a more time-consuming piece, but just the line art in general is really, really solid. Oh, darn it. I fumble fingers. I think this tack is just really, really beautiful done. Beautifully done. You know, in an interesting way, there's a parallel between Adam and Alex Ross. And my point being is they both have a real respect and passion for the original comic book artists. So no matter what year you see their work, there's always a level of respect that they pay to the classics. And oh gosh, this is so fucking good. So here, this is another thing too, is Adam really was the first commission guy that I saw that would put very funny little quips on his commission pieces, and Adam is actually genuinely very funny. He has a great sense of humor, and again, he's a very smart guy. So it's there's a level of intelligence to his humor that I like. People sometimes kind of try to mimic this, what he does. I don't think that it doesn't have the same charm, in my opinion. God, this is such a great little drawing. So solid and just so cool. His sketchbooks are just filled with pages and pages of this stuff. It's absolutely phenomenal. You'll see as we move through these pieces how exciting it is, and I think that there is something relatable to the simplicity of it. I know I have been mentioning more and more some of the lesson stuff that I do for direct students, and one thing that I tell people is when you're learning something complicated like close or folds and stuff like that, is think of them in small groups of twos and threes. And if you look, I mean, essentially he has 1, 2, 3 kind of indications of folds, but with that, it's a very beautifully drawn sleeve, and to be honest, it's plenty. This thing colored would look fantastic. So, again, you got 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could argue there's a few other little shapes, but you can get away with a lot if it's very accurately placed, but you have to understand that, and I will zoom in on the hair. Beautiful hair, too. It's really, really good. You can see a little bit of that Kevin Nolan, like, lighting in there. This is very cool. So this I got off of Comic Art Fans. Someone had purchased one of his prelims for... I think this was the X-Men Silver Age. So this was that series where Travis did the World War II grifter zealot story, and then Adam did what was his? Modern Age? No. There was Golden Age, Silver Age, maybe Modern Age, and then Dark Age. Matt Broom did Dark Age. This is great. I love this page in the book. If you've seen the comic, this is really, really great. And it's interesting is because I always talk about how big of an influence Mignola is on me, and yet I don't really draw anything like Mignola. Frank Miller as well. But Adam is a guy that actually does bring in that graphic sense, but his structure is much more sort of statuesque. It's more Loomis. Bigger figures. The proportions are different. Mignola has very almost Kirby-esque proportions. This is great. I love the way he does eyes. And Adam generally will draw both lids, like, and connect them. Some artists don't. You'll see people that will leave out a little bit of the lower lid and stuff like that. But you see he doesn't really draw the bridge of the nose, but it's very, very accurately placed, so everything is looking good, and then the lips are nice, and this is all just real good. Really good. And again, it's very, in terms of detail, it's very judiciously put in, but, expertly done. Batman, this is from 1990. Man, that was a long time ago. 30 years ago. Jeez Louise. You can see, I mean, he doesn't have the fanciest cape going, Now Adam would draw less and make it look better. That's the irony. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have all these pleats here. He would do like 2 or 3, and it would look killer and would look better. Less effort, more results. This is older too. I can kind of tell just based on some of the stuff going on here. It's still nice. I love the cape is actually quite beautifully drawn. It's interesting because I always forget that Superman's cape can have kind of a gap. Like the way that it attaches to his shoulders is a little different. This is really good. Good stuff. Yeah, this is funny. So this is one of the sketchbooks he had at Wildstorm, for sure. I remember this because J. Scott Campbell and I, we made photocopies of everything. Adam gave Jeff permission to do it, so we went through all 4 or 5 of his sketchbooks and made copies of everything. I don't look at them that much. I have them in binders, and I do love it though. I have mine organized as the X-Men stuff, Indiana Jones and Star Wars, Vampirella, and then Ghost. It's 5 binders full of stuff. There was a lot. and a create our own book that he's never released. Someday, I hope he does it someday. I won't talk too much about it, but this is great. Oh, so pretty. And so the sketchbooks, funny enough, some of the pieces were pulled from the sketchbooks and sold, and then some of the sketchbooks were sold pseudo intact. I think that they pulled out the money shots and sold those individually, and then what was remaining, things like this, were sold as batches. But yeah, on Heritage, you can find 4 or 5 completed auctions, surprisingly cheap. But again, I think the reason being is that it's more stuff like this and not the more fully realized. Because he had a lot of stuff that was quite finished. This is older. I remember this too. This is Rogue. Pretty sure it's Rogue. I don't remember who this character is. This looks like a different era. Man, he draws really great. Yeah, it's really nice. Adam has a very distinct way that he draws noses. And I was going to say, too, I was thinking about last night when, oh, yeah, so I definitely have seen this sketchbook in person. This is some of the Vampirella stuff I was talking about. This was back in his Babes era. Bikini Babes and all the, sort of Marvel swimsuit kind of stuff. Adam has been highly influential. I mean, I would definitely say Frank Cho and Terry Dodson quickly come to mind. But you can see it in other people's stuff. I mean, I think Jorge Jimenez definitely, whether he knows it or not, got a lot from Adam. He doesn't really draw like Adam, but like the way that the spandex and stuff is lit, to me, goes back to Adam. This is great. But yeah, the influences will funnel through in very interesting ways, and then people don't realize what they're looking at. They see like a third iteration of an influence, and they go, "Oh, so and so, that's his style," and you're like, "Kinda, not really." It's like looks more like so and so and so and so, but that's just the way it goes. I mean, music is like that too. This is great. I remember this piece. It's funny. Solid shapes. It's interesting how he constructs his forms, like the anatomy and stuff like that. I would think setting up a hand like that that's an interesting way. I kind of block him in right away is more of a mass, but obviously this works for him. This is so nice. You can see a lot of cues, and this will really help people that maybe you're sketching but you don't know how to sketch. Sketching got real weird. This was funny. I was thinking about this as some of the Vampirella stuff. I think it's funny. It's got an M. I wonder what. Oh, he probably was labeling them like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This might have been a very small drawing, in fact, up to M. It's a lot of iterations. Yeah, remember when James Jean started to bubble up and people were becoming first aware of James Jean, and James did these phenomenal sketchbooks in college in his art school, and I think it set a weird precedent for what a sketchbook kind of is intended to be, where it was like they became works of art and not so much about sketching. They were more show-off books where you could get more experimental, but James draws that well too, but yeah, but if you were going to keep a sketchbook, you maybe would do more stuff like this. Although, like I said, Adam takes this stuff quite far in his sketchbook. This is nuts. This is nice. Jim Lee will sometimes sketch like this. It's a very, very interesting approach where you work, basically line and light it. It's very, very solid. Really, really great shapes. And you can just see that he feels form. Let me what color? I've got black work. And you can really just see the topography of this. Like, you can feel form. He's indicating mass and things that have shape. These aren't flat silhouettes. He's not just throwing down lines. You can really see that you see the form there. He's indicating form, ridges, and all this stuff is going around chunks of stuff. You know, it's a simplified version of it, but you know, he's basically showing you the outline of things like that. And the overlapping here. It was interesting. I did a review a day or two ago, and an inker had thickened some lines and made some lines thinner, and he was losing the form, but it was because he was focused on line and not on structure. You have to understand structure to put all these lines. If you just put all this patterns on something and you don't realize that these are all, you know, forms that are three-dimensional, your odds are it's going to drift and it's not going to sit on the stuff appropriately, and then it just looks weird. You might not be able to see it, though. That's the problem. If you don't understand it, you can't really see it. These are great. Man, this is so good, dude. And he gets surreal with his rendering. I mean, a lot of this isn't like so accurately placed. It's a fun approach to it. So I see that, you know, he's cartooning this stuff. I mean, you can see like Wolvie. It's really good though. Man, it's great. Yeah, really, really cool. Oh, Adam, you're so good. So yeah, a lot of times what he'll do is, you know, you've got this. This almost looks like a printout. I think it's just a very pixelated scan of it. As it's, you can see the scanner is having some issues, so it's kind of bitmapped itself a little bit. Um, yeah, so he'll take something like this and like lightbox it. You know, maybe makes a photocopy of it and then blows it up to the size that he needs and lightboxes. I mean, you could obviously scan it too. Um, it's really nice. Yeah, man, he's so good. Adam, so good. Oh, Nightcrawler. Was tempted to do cover run or something like that today. We can always come back and visit Adam's color work because he is actually a phenomenal digital colorist as well. So, you know, you can't go wrong looking at the finished pieces. Yeah, that's really cool. I love what he did with the hair here, how he blacked out so much of it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Adam uses a, oh, I would only be guessing. I think he uses an H lead for his pencils, but he may mix it up. He may use something a little bit softer, like a HB. It's cool. This is like a little montage. These weren't all, I don't think, on the same piece. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's a little montage of the actual auction. This was pretty cool. This is crazy shit. And I think if we look, yeah. So this paper has got a texture to it. You could do this with an airbrush too. If you had white board, like crescent artboard, you could actually lay down a flat color, and then draw over it, and then pull your values, either lighter or darker, or you know, your hues. Adam Hughes. um, but anyway, gosh, it's pretty cool, man. This is Tarzan Red Sonja, I guess. Oh, this is so good. This girl's face, well, both of them, but man, that is so great. These fists are awesome too. Man, he really does the work. Can tell he really can draw hands. It's so fascinating to see how he blocks in his fists. But Based on what I saw, Adam definitely was not shy about using reference. So if he's not sure how to draw something, I mean, he will definitely seek out something to make sure that he hits it on point. Because he wants a certain level of quality in his work, and he's just not going to sort of fake something to get it. But this is great. It's a tough position for a hand. This too, really. I mean, honestly, I think pinky side fist is more difficult than some other positions. So, and even just squishing two arms in like that, that's really really good. Man, it's nice. This is an interesting thing too. He does is he'll pull the eye so dark that you don't even see any white. I think it would be tempting to want to try to squeeze in some eye, but you don't really need it. I love the slenderness of the girl too. It looks really good. She's very very thin. Oh yeah, and this is fun, right? Oh, I remember this. I saw this piece maybe 6 or 7 months ago. A friend of mine was like, he buys original art, and so a lot of times they'll sort of hit him up about these pieces to see if he's interested because he's got the budget to swing things like this. So, man, her face is great. This is a nice mix of real nice rendering and detail on this figure. I mean, he definitely went to town on the rendering here. These are solid, man. Upshots galore. He's just like in your face upshot. He's got him from every angle, just about. That's always tricky. This can be hard to keep a girl looking attractive, and he did the eyes actually looking up, which is kind of interesting. This is really good too. Bam. This is nice. Yep, really really cool. Still got it. We've been very very fortunate to have a lot of amazing artists be able to continue doing pretty high level stuff longer into their careers than maybe generations before. But it depends on who we're talking about. But yeah, generally speaking, I think these are people that all broke in probably 15 years before me, but like the Jim Lees and Adam Hugheses and Arthur Adams and Mignolas and all that, they seem to be doing a good job. Even that's really crazy, kind of cool though. But I get it. It's like this is like kind of off of Rainmaker. He would do some studies of Rainmaker that sort of look like that. Um, yeah, I think Kevin Nolan is another one too. That they all still draw at a pretty damn high level, considering they're all heading towards their 60s, and some of them are actually in their 60s now. But yeah, they're kicking ass, man. So it's exciting, I'm like, all right, I got another 20 years of badassery potential. Let's do it. That guy's got cauliflower here. Yo. Yeah, I have this stuff. It's funny how simple her face is, like Charlie Brown, but there's the more simple Batman. His Batman's great. His Superman is really cool too. Sometimes he can look a little doughy, but that's kind of just an aesthetic that it's like, again, he draws noses a little more rounded, so that's what I mean by doughy, where it's like, the Jim Lee noses are all these real sharper kind of ideas. So really cool eyes. I actually, it's funny because I people will, so it's interesting with influences and how it works for you, and then just coincidental influences. Like, I hear musicians talk about it too, where they'll like listen to a band that they've never heard, and they'll go, man, it's crazy like how similar some of our ideas are. Sometimes it just happens. I mean, I think just naturally there's things that I have in my own stuff. I do eyes very similar to this, but I don't know if I got it from Adam. I don't study his work that way, where I mean, I think it just happens. And then sometimes I see J. Scott Campbell in my stuff, and I was a big fan of Jeff's stuff, so it is possible that somehow it just sort of, it looked good and it looked right, so it's like you kind of have it. But I think then what ultimately ends up happening is if you really do focus on your own work, you will just sort of develop it into a unique thing. It's I think when you keep going back to those sources to learn that you can run into like identity, a loss of identity with your own work, which is no good. No one wants that. I don't think. I see a couple of artists online that still kind of chase other people's stuff, and it's like, dude, just be you, little buddy. That's what Mitch Hedberg said. Turkey bologna, turkey salami. Just be turkey. So this is probably Fairchild, and this is grunge, and that's Fairchild too. He did some toony Gen 13 pieces. I remember this too. This was an early Wonder Woman cover. I loved it. It was like he was kind of doing a caricature of Roseanne Barr with this character. He was trying to get a little bit of the Roseanne kind of vibe with her, and it worked. It looked good. It was actually kind of funny. Adam would do great caricatures that were sometimes even slightly realistic in his sketchbooks. I don't know if we'll see any, but like old detectives and stuff. Yeah, I have all this stuff. This was from a wizard article that he did on drawing sultry babes. Not these over here, the Scarlet Witch stuff. This is really nice. And again, you can see a little bit. It's like a blend of the tune, and also a more realistic thing. He's so damn good. It's making me want to pull out those sketchbooks. I should be browsing them at night. It would be some good grounding ideas. Just nice silhouettes. Again, the simplicity, the economy of line, I think, is just really, really. Get solid with your work, and then you can get crazy. When you're drawing stuff at this level and your figures are so solid, putting a bunch of rendering on it is kind of like, it's the icing on the cake. You want to have a solid cake, though. These are very Kevin Nolan. This in particular. The frowny mouth. Kevin Nolan's kind of famous for the fish mouth, and then the way that he lights stuff. But Kevin does a lot of pretty like narrow noses too. And then he does the Jim Lee eye. Kind of comes from Kevin Nolan in a way, but yeah, everybody in Kevin Nolan's world is sort of grumbly grumbles. It's interesting because there's like a little bit of a Sienkiewicz thing that happens with that too, depending on how tight you get with it. This eye's a little. I'll move them. But these are just him riffing. It's like a very intimate look into Adam's thought process. I remember this piece too. This was in one of his sketchbooks. It's interesting because now it's like I'm tripping and going like, maybe I saw this online and I'm just confusing it with what he had with him. He just got better and better. Boy, I'll tell you what, this dude had a growth curve in the late 90s that was pretty phenomenal to see because he was already really, really good. This is great. I love the suit. But yeah, he used to draw very sort of 80s hair. So everybody had like sort of fancy 80s hair. And it made his work look a little dated. And some point between 1996 and say 2001, he updated all of his fashion. He used to give them very sort of almost like aerobic pants and shoes and stuff like that too. But when he updated his aesthetic, man, it was like everything started to look very contemporary and not so much like a retro style. So he brought his work forward, which sometimes is not easy to do. You definitely don't want to have your work look old-fashioned. It's, unless you're going to completely own some sort of retro style. But yeah, he started giving everyone hipper hair and different shoes. But this was like, I mean, it's obviously Wonder Woman's boot, but he would give them a lot of almost like these sort of very booty boots on the girls. And again, it had a very 80s sort of I don't know, aerobicize sort of vibe. Boobs. Wonderful boobs. He does this. He does really good studies of this type of stuff, though. This is nice. Nice position of the legs. This is really good too. Nice kink to the body. This is really good too. I saw Kelsey Shannon do a pose. He had to draw Nexus on a couch, and he had him very, very relaxed looking. It's nice, you know, because it doesn't feel stiff. And this is really great too. Lots to unpack here, friends. Lots to unpack. Sometimes the obvious is the least obvious. This is great too. This was a smaller scan, but it was such a great page. It was worth saving. There used to be a fantastic Yahoo group or MSN group that was Adam Hughes, and he would share stuff like this. But you can still there's a website that stores images online, but again, the size may not always be great. But this was so cool, I had to do it. But these are great, and to me, I would just so much prefer to see drawings that look like this than like photo, like tracing of a photo for characters. Like this to me is just so much cooler. Even if the structure drifts a little bit, you know, and the faces like have a more weird kind of form, you know. To me, that's interesting. It adds some character to it. Where if it's too realistic, see, and you can see here him moving into like a more cartoony thing, but I think it works quite well. But yeah, I definitely think if Jorge Jimenez wasn't into Adam's stuff, then he clearly was looking at some people that were, because I just see a lot of that in his work. The lighting too. Adam would do some very, very interesting like lighting effects with his Catwoman and Wonder Woman covers. This is great too. Again, kind of a smaller thing. These are really, really kick-ass. It's funny, I actually saw a piece online last night that was almost identical to that, and they had done it in like a line decker style. It was maybe this morning. That's funny. Maybe the same reference, I don't know. That is so good. Oh my god. That is perfect comic art right there to me. This is great too. Fuck, Adam's so great. Oh, Adam, if you ever see this video, one, I love you as a person because I think you're awesome, but your art is so good. I was pretty sure that these were Adam, but they might not be. It might be someone doing studies of Adam. I wasn't sure. I had done a Google search for Adam. They feel a little off to me. So I don't know if someone was doing studies of Adam, but anyway, it came up with Adam Hughes search with no real sort of background to it. But anyway, I had someone the other day like going like, oh, I remember the circumstances, but it was like someone was copying someone else's style, and I don't like to come online and be a know-it-all and be like, that's definitely not so-and-so, or that definitely is so-and-so, unless I know for a fact. But they were like, well, that's a compliment, because if you can't tell, it's like, no, dude, I can tell. I'm just not going to be a jack-off and pretend like I know everything about every piece of art that goes up online, like other people do. It's like, if I'm not sure, I'll just say I'm not sure. I'm not gonna like just say shit to fucking blow smoke out my mouth. You know, these are great. That's so good. I love too like this beautiful silhouette of like what her hair could potentially be. She looks strong and she looks powerful. Like he really gets. There's a level of respect that Adam puts in his characters it's a real important thing. Okay, so I guess that's it. All right, you guys have a great day. I hope that was super fun. I think it was about 45 minutes. These videos fly by for me now. My stamina for doing videos is much longer because of the live streams. So 30 minutes feels quick. But anyway, have a great day. Please hit the like if you didn't, and subscribe. Definitely hit the notification bell. I'm up trying to upload 4 to 5 videos a week, so I'm being quite active here. But all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great Sunday, and check out Patreon. All right, bye.